With the perfect hourglass figure in trend, the 1950s was the time of supreme feminine silhouette, very much represented through their dressing. The period also faced a shift from one attire to an almost opposite trend with the emergence of competitive clothing brands. Most of the early 1950s look was a trait of femininity, women returning to womanliness after the World War. Many believe that the 1950s was a new time for women, and it was very much shown in their attire of the time. They would prefer wearing pointy bras, particularly reflecting the top shell of a space rocket, but what did it represent? Back then, women were obsessed with femininity, a new start after World War II, and the concept of hitting the skies with womanly power. However, for the most part, the 1950s is regarded as the hourglass silhouette reign. In this reign, the shoulders were softened with padding that rounded them, waists were snatched and shrunk with the tight girdles to achieve the old Victorian look, and hips were exaggerated with tulle and crinolines that added bulk. Even though the tightly fitted girdles were so uncomfortable, every girl would wear them and the one who didn't would be criticized. Even the magazines would advertise girdles like, "Look like this," "Feel like this," and the undercover strategy for new glamour. But yeah, girdles surely did the magic of transforming a woman's body into a perfect hourglass figure as she desired. Simply, mid-century fashion won't work without a girdle. Pretty much what you call a Barbie figure today, the inspiration genuinely came from the 1950s. Look at the Barbie figure. The big, pointed breasts, the exaggerated hips, and a fully curved waist. That's exactly how 1950s women would look like with girdles on. Fashion has always remained a business at the other end. The same goes for the fashion trends of the 1950s. The magazines and pamphlets would say, "Skinny girls are not glamour girls, how to add glamorous curves to your figure," and "Good news for thousands of girls who have no sex appeal." It was all to sell the big cone-shaped bra and almost suffocating girdles just for the women to keep the standards of being women. Where the hourglass figure was in trend in the 1950s, two other silhouettes also emerged in the mid-century: long and tapered, and slim and boxy. The hourglass silhouettes would wear a tiny hat, set hair, a cinched waist, gloves, tiny sloping shoulders, tight sleeves, an enormous full skirt, a long hemline, and pointy-toed stilettos or kitten-heeled shoes. These ladies were a celebration of the feminine delicacy and womanliness after the chaos of the war. The long and tapered silhouette would wear a long pencil skirt for a more curved shape, and the slim and boxy silhouette would prefer wearing a boxy jacket, cardigan, or sweater. You might have seen the ladies in the 1900s with thin, sleek, finely waxed eyebrows, but you know what? There were times when the thick and filled eyebrows with fully defined arcs were once part of 1950s beauty ideals. Those who didn't have the thick, bushy brows would fill them in. With most of the focus being on the eyes, sharp and vibrant eye colors were in trend. And of course, the perfect, thick cat eyeliner, because why not when it changed the shape of your eyes, and that was the era of change. Including men, everyone was just obsessed with the newness in the post-war world. To enhance the eyes further, there were false lashes on the go. Unlike the 21st century, 1950s women were obsessed with dark lips to go with the vibrant and colorful turquoise eyeshadow. So, we can say that the time was the peak time of what we call a full coverage makeover look. The hair was shortened after the trend of long hair in the 1940s. Women of the 1950s would mostly be seen with short hair, even about their shoulders. That was the time when talented ladies like Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor, the star actresses of the 1950s, and Susie Parker, the first supermodel, appeared in these looks. And how can we not talk about the 1950s diva, the one and only Marilyn Monroe? This famous American actress never fell for fashion fads. In fact, she was more classic and unique in her dressing sense. Monroe embraced femininity to the fullest by wearing form-fitting hourglass silhouettes, rich hues, and necklines that plunged into daring terrain. Her minimalistic wardrobe was built on capri pants, duster coats, boat-neck shirts, and chic sheath dresses. It's something that set standards for 1950s fashion. Even today, in the 21st century, people are often seen mimicking her style and aura to look like her. The way women played with hair dressings is amazing. You would see a variety in hair shapes from the same mid-century. Somewhere in the 1950s, a designer emerged with the new look from France, who actually transformed the dressing sense a bit. Yes, he was Christian Dior. It was not only the new look for the ladies of the 1950s, the trend was also the rebirth of French fashion industry after the war. He introduced a voluminous frock made with so much fabric and had a cinched waist, somehow resembling the same 1950s aura, but you know what? It was a major restoration of Victorian fashion. Even the gowns for the night ball were exactly how the vintage gowns from the 1850s and 60s would look. The women of the mid-century loved the new look, and it spread around like fire. This attire was what many of the women would have dreamt of. In no time, the look was imitated and started appearing almost everywhere, from magazines to catalogs, from local stores to designer places, from weddings to proms, and even from farewells to graduations. Yet another fashion look landed in the mid-century, and though the opposite of Dior, the women loved it. That was Coco Chanel's brand, and she came to put an end to Christian Dior's The New Look. She hated Dior. Not due to any personal rivalry, but rather her notion was that the fashion should be wearable, it should be comfortable and easy for women to continue their day-to-day chores. She hated the over-professionalism of Dior's high-standard girdles and extra voluminous dresses that were not practical at all, and she literally did put things straight with the Chanel cardigan suit. It was comfortable, boxy, and easy for all women to wear and still be in the circle of womanliness. Women would have both Chanel and Dior silhouettes in their wardrobes to choose one for the right occasion, but at least Chanel eased it for them. As both major designers, Chanel and Dior, emerged from France, Paris became an obsession for women, especially for American women. Soon, the spirit of Paris, the poodle, was everywhere. Teenage women would wear skirts with poodles, the Eiffel Tower, or champagne glasses on it, all of which were products of France. Though the 1950s was the age of professional, sophisticated, and formal dressing for the most part, the move to suburbia launched a whole new dimension of fashion. Light items such as capri pants, polka dot shorts, and casual wear went into fashion. But yes, women would still wear girdles even while they were going to the grocery store. But a few standards remained unshackled even after a lot of revolutions in the dressing pattern, such as women wearing teddy jackets would be regarded as naughty women. It's only today that you can wear anything you feel comfortable in, and the world will still appreciate you. The past was different, and this fashion we're talking about is 75 years old, far away from today. In 1959, America recognized Hawaii as its 50th state. The beautiful island with tropical vibes soon gave rise to a new fashion trend: tropical prints in sarong dresses. It was a kind of slim, tapered, mid-century silhouette. Women would often carry it with a little bolero jacket. The beatniks were hipsters that were youth counterculture. The beatnik women would wear striped jerseys and Breton shirts. They would go into the hubs and enjoy activities like reciting poetry and playing bongos. And yeah, they were so obsessed with Paris and France. The word beatniks used for them as a touch of sarcasm, as something to make fun of them in their fashion sense because their dressing was not as sophisticated as the whole 1950s had been. The First Lady of the United States and the wife of President John F. Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy, set standards for many women in the late 1950s. Her gorgeous look and short blackish-brown hair, a string of pearls on her neck, and sophisticated attire on her body would fascinate many women to look like her. She was a walking beauty in simple, chic, boxy, and vibrant colored outfits that would make her look elegant. All of her outfits were well-tailored, and in no time, women started imitating her look. Not only the dress, but also they would cut their hair short and dye them the same as Jacqueline's hair color. The perfection of her attire gave a start to the early 1960s when women kept on imitating her style till something more striking came in. The very end is a new beginning. So, the end of the 1950s fashion was the beginning of the 1960s attire. Fashion Ever After makes sure to bring all about fashion, attire, styling, and much more on a single platform for you. Want to learn more? Just press the bell icon so we can keep you updated on our latest videos. And as we end this video, have you ever had a chance to experience girdles? If yes, do share your experience with us. We'd love to hear from you.